I'm here. I'm closing my blinds because I can't see the... All right. So, I made my phone a hotspot. Good morning. Hey, Kevin, I made my phone a hotspot, so I have no idea if this is working or not. So, apparently one person can at least hear me, or if you can see me, I'm awful sorry about that. So, if it seems to be working okay, just, if you would, leave a comment or thumbs up or something, because I've never done this before. I mean, I've done a live before, but I've never used my phone as a hotspot. It's working. Okay, can you see me? There should be a big fat furry head on the... Okay, you can see me. All right, I'm gonna sand a little bit. I'm working on... I have 3 deplorables, 1 here and 2 I'm working on. Just gonna do a little sanding. I thought, I can't see the chat. This is so far away. Okay, you can, alrighty. So, I'm just gonna talk. And just imagine that there's people, it says there's 3 there. And I have a thumbs up and a middle finger. I didn't even know that was possible. Boy, wouldn't that be something if YouTube allowed that? That would be funny. So, I'm at 400 on these knives right now, which is 3 more grits, and I will be polishing these. I'm not going to work out here that long. Just a lot going on. I'm having a real hard time getting my brain to come out here and chill out and not worry. I got to shut off the heater. 1 second. Man, that little buddy heater, it sure does warm it up in here. Still says I got 3 watching. God, I need to figure this out more. Anyway. What I was talking to my wife about this morning is we have discovered Instagram recently, and man, there is some funny stuff on Instagram. I don't put anything on Instagram. I have an Instagram account just because you have to, and I think I put a picture of a knife up, and that was it. And I don't have the desire to figure out how to put I think it's 30-second videos, or maybe it's 60-second. But what I am seeing a lot of is young people in their maybe 30s or late 20s, early to mid 30s, and they're all whining and complaining about how hard this economy is, and they seem to be blaming boomers for this economy. And I want to tell them 2 things: that when I was your age, their age, I had 3 jobs. I had a full-time job and 2 part-time jobs, because a full-time job didn't pay all my bills. Good morning. Hey, Gary. I want to say thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. You know what I mean. I rode a bicycle to work because I couldn't afford a car. Yeah, I wish I could see better. Hey, Mike. Yeah, when I was that age, I had a full-time job. And then I worked, I was a toast chef at Western Sizzling. A toast chef. I'm sort of kidding, but that was what I did more than anything. I still have a scar in my arm from reaching up into that toaster, big toaster oven, pulling out a jam, a toast jam. And I worked on base. I worked, I had just numerous part-time jobs. I always had, I mopped floors on base. That was not a good job. That was not a good job at all, because part of the stuff I did was in the hospital, and I mopped up a lot of blood and stuff like that. And these kids are sitting in their cars complaining, doing the complaining about the times. Be right back. Okay. Boy, I wish that writing was a little bigger. They're all complaining about how hard the times are, how they can't make it, and they're blaming it on us. And I say two things. You voted this economy in. When you look at San Francisco, the needles, the human feces, the people living on the sidewalk, and you continuously vote the people in that caused this problem, you're part of the problem. So right now we have a failing economy, which the last administration, we had a booming economy. And again, I got to say this disclaimer because there are some Trump zealots out there that think Trump is a god, and I think Trump just did a better job than Biden. That's all. That's the end of it for me. And if he runs again, which he is, I'll vote for him again because I prefer the economy when he was president to the economy we have now, and that's the end of it. There are things. Let me see this. There are things that. Try using my laptop screen to. I don't know how to do that. Let me see. There is a. Let me see. Oh crap. Nope, don't want to do that. Okay. Well, this is a little better. I can see some messages coming through here. But it's too small for me to see that far away. Well, anyway, my point is these kids that are all complaining are the blue-haired kind of people, and more often than not, those are the ones that vote for the administration that destroys the economy every time they get in. And you get what you vote for. That's what I say. The world is no more harder to make it than it was when I was a young man with no education, no high school diploma, and I was able to work a couple of jobs and have an apartment. And there was one time I rented a house, and there was three of us. It took three of us to rent a house, 3 bedrooms, and it was all people I knew. So it wasn't like you're living with strangers, but my life wasn't any easier than kids today have it. I say kids, I mean people who are beyond college age and getting out on their own and finding that it's difficult. And instead of buckling down and working their ass off, they're getting on Instagram or wherever and whining about how hard life is. Well, yeah, life is hard. It's hot out in the summer, and some things you can't change. And you have two kinds of people: those who get on Instagram and whine about it, and those who have the time to not get on Instagram, go find a second job. Like everybody else does that realizes they're not making enough money at one job. And I actually saw a young man, I don't know if it was on Instagram or Facebook, it made the rounds. He was crying because he was forced to work 8 hours. And he was saying, if this is what life's about, you give your life to 8 hours. I rarely had jobs where 8 hours was all that was required of my day. And anyway, I just happened to, Charlie and I were talking about that this morning. I told her this thing I'm seeing a lot on Instagram and Facebook and all that is young people complaining about they don't have enough money. Well, they're sitting in an expensive car drinking Starbucks, complaining about not having enough money. And I can see, any thinking person can look at their situation and see that, well, you're in an expensive car drinking $8 a cup of coffee, complaining about not having enough money. This does not compute. Hi there. Who's that? Hey, Willow's Garden. Well, anyway, just an old man complaining. And somebody said, okay, here's what got me to thinking about this this morning. Their comment was, I challenge you boomers me to start life over. And I looked at the comments, and all the comments were exactly what mine were. I would be successful and have a place to live, just like I was when I was making $2.11 an hour, because I wouldn't sit in my car and whine about it. I would go get a part-time job or a third part-time job. And I think the thing is, these kids were born thinking they didn't have to apply themselves in life, and that things would continuously be given to them, and life would be hard, easy, like it was when they were living at home. And maybe it is the parents' fault. Maybe they did, nobody had chores. Nobody's forced to go out and mow the yard anymore or pull their own weight. Some people raise their kids responsibly and show them what, that you get things if you work for them. But most kids, parents are too busy working to teach their kids that if you want something, you got to work for it. Let me do a little sanding. And I sure wish I could see the comments, but that's beyond my. These are up close classes, and you're right at the point where my vision starts getting fuzzy. I mean, I probably should get classes, but I don't want to spend the money. Yeah, I don't want to turn into that old person that doesn't understand life is hard. Life is definitely hard, and the world has changed a lot since I was that age. Maybe I'm not seeing it, maybe I'm not actually seeing how hard the world is. I know that my wife and I live on a shoestring budget, Social Security, and we don't get much. It was shocking to see how much after all those years of working, how much we end up with, And now you're hearing people say, well, Social Security wasn't meant to be your retirement plan. Well, why did they tell me it was? Why did they continuously take money out of my paycheck? Why did I have to pay so much in if it wasn't supposed to be my retirement plan? I mean, I just a middle class, probably lower middle class guy all my life. Although when I was an owner operator, I had more cash go through my hands, but what I actually got to keep out of it wasn't that much. I'm not ruling out the fact that I'm just not seeing what they're seeing. But when I see a kid in an expensive car drinking Starbucks with the sunlight out, I'm thinking, why the hell are you not working instead of in your car drinking $8 a cup of coffee with a $700 or $800 car payment? I'm not ruling out I could not be seeing the whole picture, and I'm not ruling out the fact that I'm older, and I guess old people do tend to get a little cranky and forget how hard life is. That's all a possibility. But I see the whiners, and it makes me mad that people would rather whine than work. I've always been a worker. I mean, I'm retired, and I'm out here making knives, I mean, it's a hobby, but if I wasn't doing this, I would be in my garage working on small engines. And, I buying and selling equipment, or cutting trees, or, well, I couldn't be cutting trees right now, and those days are over probably for me, but, I've always avoided whining and always worked. Work was always a solution to all my issues. All my problems were solved with work and more money. Y'all can talk amongst yourselves, See, I brought that up, and for some reason, I don't know. There we go. Yeah, 2008 was when that happened, Gary, I believe. And that was, wasn't that the Obama administration when that happened? Another Democrat. And, I mean, you can look back in history and see whenever Democrats get a hold of something, I think Austin, the latest, to me, the latest example of how Democrats destroy everything they get their hands on is Austin. Austin, and I know this personally because I used to haul a lot of freight out of Austin. I used to haul computers out of Austin. Use your, yeah, I don't know how. This is my laptop and my phone is behind it. My phone is I'm using it as a hotspot. So, I just don't know what to do. I am not digitally smart. You know, I grew up in a black and white TV, and I remember when transistor radios came out. I'm not making excuses. I'm just not, technology. See, I can't even talk. Technology comes really hard to me. I don't know why. Huh. Yeah. I've already got this set up, but I may do that next time because I can just get 1 bar of Wi-Fi from my house, and it wasn't enough to go live. I tried, so next time I will go live on my phone and then watch it. I think there's enough Wi-Fi access font size on your laptop. Huh. They don't know how to do that, Gary. Or Willows. It's okay, look at you, yeah. All right, let me sand a little bit. And then I wanted to talk about cops. I know y'all probably get tired of hearing me talk about cops, but you just don't understand how much of my life I spent coming in contact with some form of law enforcement every single day. And because of that, I had a chance to see, and when you're a truck driver, you're really at the bottom of the ladder, as far as how they treat you, because you have no recourse, you have no options. Now everybody's got cameras. They're a lot less likely to cheat you and lie to you and call you names or purposely try to get you to elevate the situation. Instead of being polite, they want you to be rude or talk back and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, man, I come across some guys that it was scary that they had a gun and a badge. They were that loony that you just know they were itching to find a reason to shoot you or hurt you or arrest you instead of just, let's say you get pulled over for speeding. No, I don't think I'll ever be computer savvy. Well, I had cops pull me over for a simple speeding ticket going down a hill, 5 miles an hour over. And they instantly got out and would start treating you in a way that was obvious. They didn't just want to write you a speeding ticket. They wanted you to be belligerent and loud and argue. And it made them mad when you were cooperative and polite and quiet. And now, when I was a young man, I talked myself into a lot of bad things because, let's just say I'm type A, and when bullies come at me, badged or not, I react, I react in a way that's not conducive to getting just a simple speeding ticket. So I learned as a young man to keep my big mouth shut, and no matter how hard they tried to goad me into elevating a simple speeding ticket into an arrest or a truck search. And I had dishonest cops write me up for things that were clearly not against the law. I had a cop try to write me a ticket because I had a coffee pot in my side box where my fire extinguisher was. And this cop, oh, he had me on the side of the road for an hour trying to figure out a way to write me a ticket. He was inspecting my truck. So he wanted to see my fire extinguisher. So I open my side box and I lower this table that I'd made where I set my coffee maker on because I had an inverter in there. And he says, well, I can't reach your fire extinguisher. So guys, this was in El Paso, and Mexicans are not normally tall people. They're shorter people. And this was a Mexican, I mean, he was American, but, you know, he was in El Paso, so his heritage was Mexican. And the guy's like 5'6", you know, and I'm 6'1". So I said, well, I didn't know I had to make my fire extinguisher accessible to short people. I shouldn't have said that. Oh man, that made him mad. So I'm telling him, my fire extinguisher, all trucks come with fire extinguishers bolted to the ground in a locked cab. So clearly I don't have to give you access to my fire extinguisher. I can reach my fire extinguisher just fine. And that made him mad. And he was going to write me a ticket for him not to have been able to get in my locked side box to access my fire extinguisher. And then I made another stupid comment like, you know, if I have to, I'll keep a step stool there so you can reach up in there. Oh yeah. So ended up, the guy couldn't find nothing. What he ended up doing was popping a light out on the back of my trailer and pulling the plug, disconnecting the light, putting it back in and writing me up for that light being out. And I'm not exaggerating. I went from that, what it is an off ramp and then a wide spot. And at the top of the off ramp, there's a flying J. So he pulled me over in this wide spot, did his inspection, and then let me go with a ticket. And that was after an hour of desperately trying to find something wrong. I was an owner-operator, and man, you would have to look real hard to find something wrong with my truck. I knew every nut and bolt and airline and wire. I worked on my own truck as much as I could, and I was under it. Anyway, he wrote that, and I pulled out of there, up in the Flying J, and I went in and got a light to replace the one that was out. Come out, and I look at the light. Now, the back end of my truck is covered with road salt and road grime, right? Except the light. There's fingerprints all around the light, and you can see where he had pried, put something in there and pried my light out. I pull the light out, and sure enough, that SOB had unplugged this cop. Now, it's a cop did that. Unplugged my wire. I plugged it back in, light went to working, and oh God, that made me sick. That was just one example. Why won't you stay? I just don't get it. Hey, Chicka Wolf. Yeah, that was just one example of, 35 years of doing that. And it was sometimes worse. And on the same hand, I had cops who pulled me over, did an inspection, didn't find nothing wrong, and let me go. I'm not saying there was never good cops. I'm saying you would be surprised at how many Looney Tune bad cops there are out there. And what I'm leading up to is, and I talked to my wife the other day about this. We are really in some changing times. The world is changing, people are changing. Police are having to really dig at the bottom of the barrel for people because nobody wants to do that job anymore, and cops are retiring. Good cops who don't want to get caught up in this stuff that's going on are retiring, and what they're hiring now is really bad cops. Those two cops that came to my door, didn't actually make it to my door, they came to my gate. Those were some Looney Tunes with guns and badges. And most of y'all know what that was over. That was over me putting a funny Facebook meme up of a guy holding a baby raccoon. We have a local Facebook page here, Wascom. I don't even remember, I got off that. It's our local Wascom Facebook page. And people put funny stuff up. And a week before I did this, somebody put a funny video, a funny meme of a possum saying, hey, I found this kitten in my backyard. It's really mean and it doesn't like being petted, and everybody got a laugh out of it. And the next week I put a meme up of a guy holding a baby raccoon, and I said, "Hey, I got this." Yeah, yeah. I need to inspect your wallet. Yeah. I put a meme up of a guy holding a baby raccoon, and I put on it, "Hey, I found this kitten in my backyard. Does anybody want it?" And everybody got it except a handful of really stupid people. So I played along, and one lady said, "Well, you don't even know what to feed that. It's a raccoon," like she didn't get the joke. And I said, "Sure, I know what to feed it. I got a bag of cheese curls and some Bud Light I found in a dumpster, and they seem to love it. And I'm just playing along with a joke. And anybody reading this has already by this time realizes the whole thing is a joke. There's no raccoon. This lady sends me a private message telling me that she's going to call the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, or animal, what do they call them guys? They're the ones that go out in the woods and ask you for your license if you're hunting, or get on a boat and bother you while you're fishing. Those guys, whoever they call them. And she tells me she's going to call them people. And I said, "Lady, I've told you over and over there's no raccoon. I don't know why you don't get the joke and everybody else does." So anyway, I go to bed. About 9:30, almost 10, Beverly knocks on our door and says, "The police are here looking for me." And I was in bed, sound asleep. And at that point, I was still recovering from my surgery, and, I was in bad shape. So I got up and got dressed, got out of bed, got dressed, and I opened the door and I look out there, and there's whoop, whoop, whoop. They got the lights flashing. They're in my driveway. They're at my gate. It's a good thing they stopped at the gate. That's all I'm going to say about that. I want to say a lot more, but I'm not going to. So it clicks why they're there when I realize who they are. Fish and Game. That's what they call them, Fish and Game. And I said, "Are you here over a Facebook raccoon?" And I didn't even go down there to them. I was on my front porch. "Yeah, we need to see that raccoon." And I'm not going to say the words that I use, but I told you that my trigger is bullies. These guys knocked on neighbors' doors at night looking for me. And I just got madder and madder and madder that these people were so stupid that they wouldn't investigate a complaint. They would just come to my house at night. This couldn't have been done during the day. Anyway, I yelled and screamed and called them all kinds of names. I even invented a few. And, I was very careful not to tell them what I really wanted to say was, "If you come back," anyway, they left. I said, "There's no raccoon, you idiots. Get the, off my property." And what I wanted to say, I'm old, I'm sick, I probably don't have a lot of time left. And if you come back, you better have your guns drawn, because that's what I wanted to tell them, because I hate bullies. And bullies with badges are the worst kind of bullies. And my house here, I can't go anywhere. I can't avoid them. If they come to me, that's the end of the road for me. There's no way I can avoid them. And I don't fish because I don't want to screw with the Fish and Game people while I'm out fishing, having them come. I want to see my license and check my boat registration and look at life preservers. I don't want them effing with me, I'm going to try to be polite here. And I don't hunt because I don't want some D-bag coming up to me in the middle of the woods wanting to see my hunting license. I better read that. It passed too quick. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not good at this. I can't, anyway. And I don't do things because I don't want to mess with badges. I don't want badges in my life. That's Breezy. He's on his bed. I don't want people with badges in my life because nothing good comes of it. So I do my very best to stay away from cops. I don't speed. Not normally. Occasionally, if there's an emergency, I speed. The other day when we were taking Sonny to the vet, I put my foot on the floor. She ended up passing away. But normally I do speed limit or close enough that nobody's going to bother me. And, I don't do certain things because I don't want to involve the government badges in my life. And here they are coming to my house over a Facebook meme. I was furious. Really, I haven't got that mad in a long time. And it's not good to get that mad when you've got that adrenaline surging through you. You could do something really stupid when you're so pumped up on adrenaline. I didn't think at my age I had that kind of adrenaline anymore. But I do, apparently. So anyway, they left. And to this day, now it's been, 2.5 months, and I still think about those ridiculous cops with I'm not a smart guy. I don't have a high school diploma. I have difficult learning things. So I know I'm not a terribly smart guy at some things. Some things I'm pretty good at. If we're hiring people who can't look at a Facebook meme and get that it's a joke, we are in serious trouble. These guys got badges and guns and the authority to ruin your life. And they're stupid. They're really dumb people. And that's what we got now is these kind of cops. Charlie and I were coming back from town, Marshall, the other day. And going that way was our cop, one of our cops here in town, this far off the bumper in front of them, going speed limit. I mean, I imagine they were going speed limit or close enough. But a cop tailgating ridiculously close, and this car is in a line of cars, so it's not like this car was going slow because she had a cop behind them. She was going slow because the cars in front of her were going slow, and I don't even know that they were going slow. They may have been doing the speed limit. I don't know. But nobody was tailgating except that cop. And I don't mean a little close. I mean ridiculously, dangerously close to probably frightening the car. And that's the kind of people we have as cops now. And the good cops who wouldn't dream of doing that, they're getting the hell out of police work because of those kind of people coming in. And I was telling my wife, if rule of law doesn't exist anymore, these are the kind of people that are going to take advantage of bad situations. Look what happened when Hurricane Katrina came through New Orleans. There is video after video of cops looting, being part of the looting, in uniform. And a lot of people don't know that. And here's something else they did. They went door to door and took people's guns. 8-9 years later, people are still suing the New Orleans Police Department trying to get their guns back. A lot of them are just completely gone. Nobody knows where they are. There was people evacuating. They went across Lake Pontchartrain in a boat. They had their guns in a boat. Hey, Misty. They had their guns in a boat and were going across Lake Pontchartrain, evacuating the area, and police stopped them on the water and took their guns, legally possessed guns. So if we are suddenly without rule of law, or if there's a computer glitch and the lights go out, I mean, just think of a million possibilities that we hear on YouTube all day long. And, these kind of cops could turn into absolute rogues overnight. And then what do you do? What is your recourse then? These are things you have to consider and think about. What would you do? Like you go through your mind, like if suddenly you didn't have access to water, what would you do? It's that kind of thought process. I mean, I know what I'd do. And just the other day, we went to town and I seen a pond that if the city water suddenly stopped pumping, and this is not like something beyond possibility. We had a tornado come through here and the town ran out of water. They didn't run out of water, they ran out of diesel fuel to keep the generators going, to run the pumps to push water to people's houses. So it is not beyond the realm of extreme possibility. It's not unthinkable. It's quite possible that we could run out of water and then you'd have to find a way to get water yourself. Well, there's a pond near us that seemed like a pretty clean pond. And we were all talking about it. Me, Charlie, and Bev were talking about it. How you have to go down there and, all right, I'm going to pull these comments up. Dip out a 5-gallon bucket of water and I swear I'll figure this out. The sun is in my eyes. Yeah. It just keeps disappearing. Major Tom. Everybody calls you a smart ass, yeah. Well, I had a tough time learning all my young life, and I'm not saying that I'm not smart. I'm just saying that I don't learn and retain information the way most people do. And over the years, I've learned to be content with whatever limitations I may have, intellectual limitations. I got a pretty good vocabulary, and I can build pretty much anything I want and rebuild engines. That side of life, I'm smart. And the other side of life, the book side of life, I'm just not. And, at some point in your life, you realize it, and you just gravitate toward the things you're good at. And, everybody's good at something, and everybody's bad at something. So, if you realize that pretty young, it makes your life a little easier. I was good at truck driving, and I always felt, the whole time I drove a truck, I felt pretty comfortable about my contribution to the world. I didn't think I was any more important than I was, but at the end of the day, I felt like I was a productive human, and I put more into the world than I took out. And that's a pretty good feeling to go to bed with. And this is another thing Charlie and I were talking about. We constantly get these phone calls from people trying to get us to switch our Medicare to them, because it's the renewal period. How they get our phone number is beyond me, and they even know my name, and that's so aggravating. These are unsolicited phone calls. Yeah, everyone's smart in their own way, I agree. Unsolicited phone calls all day long. And I don't know where I was going with that, but it's just aggravating. Okay. And what they do is try and trick older people into giving up their Medicare information and putting them on the substandard insurance that probably doesn't cover much of anything, and charging them more for it. So there's, as you get older, your mind doesn't work as well. And let's say you're in your 80s and, you can function and take your medicine and pay your bills, but you're not really hip to people trying to cheat you, which every day there's a new way they're trying to cheat you. So I get these people calling me constantly, and I think to myself, when these people go home at night, do they think about what they're doing to folks? Screwing them out of their Medicare and putting them on substandard insurance and charging them more for it. How do you live with yourself when just for a paycheck, because, they can't be making that much, or everybody would be doing it, you're willing to cheat other people and lie to them and trick them, and if you find somebody that seems feeble-minded, taking advantage of them? How do you sleep at night? At the end of the day, how do you feel like you've brought good into the world or contributed or been productive? The only production you've done is fatten your wallet and cheat a lot of people. How can you feel good about that? Right now, I'll give you an example of how people cheat. On Facebook and on YouTube, there's this ad, and it's something like, my wife bought me this weird new tool. It's not new. It's been around forever. And I went to their website just to see how much they're getting for it. It's this thing where you put it up against a pipe, and it puts the indentation of the pipe, and you can trace that pipe on a piece of wood. The technology's been around forever. It's not even technology. It's just, I don't know what else to call it. Anyway, I went to their website, and they're asking, normally they get $70 for this little plastic Chinese piece of crap. Harbor Freight's got them, exact same thing, same color, everything, for almost $10. It's like $9.98 or something like that. And they're wanting $70, but right now they got a special going on for $40. And plus shipping, and the shipping is astronomical. It's like $20. So they're tricking people to buy this piece of plastic, and there's just scam after scam after scam. And how do these people live with themselves? Cheating people out of money, lying to people, providing them with a piece of junk that they paid pennies for. There's a pastor. His name is Paul Begley, and Charlie and I, years ago, we were subscribed to his YouTube channel, but it didn't take long for us to see him for the charlatan that he is. He was selling these flashlights, and there's another thing, they'll tack a name on it like Patriot or Liberty or something like that to try and trigger the people who are patriotic or, enjoy their liberty. I'll move him a little bit. So, Pastor Begley was selling this Patriot flashlight. I almost saw it. And, one second. There we go. Yeah, no conscience. And, it's like on Temu, you can get it for $7 or $8. On Amazon, it's like $12. It was selling it for $80, and it's a cheap, junky little flashlight with a couple of gimmicks. It's got like a seatbelt cutter and a window breaker. I mean, it's cheap Chinese junk. And Begley was selling it for $80 on his YouTube channel, and I left a comment, and it immediately got me blocked. I left a comment saying, I just went to Amazon, and this flashlight you're calling the Patriot flashlight is $12 on Amazon, and you're getting $80 for it. That's shameful, man. You're selling people junk for $80 like money isn't hard to come up with. And I got blocked, and then my wife left a comment challenging him on some scripture that he was purposely misinterpreting to bolster his opinion. I can't remember what it was, but she corrected him on the scripture and gave him verbatim what it said. And he blocked her. So it's kind of funny, but there's charlatans like that. Just every time you turn your head, there's a new charlatan. It's no different than a DOT cop pulling you over and pulling a light bulb out and disconnecting the wires and putting a light bulb in and writing you a ticket for a light being out. It's the same kind of charlatan. And that cop, how do you go to bed at night? Here's the thing with cops, they give each other awards for being a super cop, and they do 30 years and retire. And do they look back over their life, looking at all the people they cheated and lied to and gave tickets that didn't deserve tickets, like that cop giving me a ticket? I mean, am I the only one that... I put a lot of effort into doing a good job. I put a lot of effort into having a safe, efficient truck. And I ran my company, my wife too, I say I, but me and her were a team. And we each had our specialties. She did all the paperwork because she had neat handwriting, and she was a lot smarter with math and making times meet up with receipts and stuff like that. And, I took care of the truck and the trailers and tires and oil changes and all that kind of stuff. So we, both halves of our business was ran well, and we're proud of what we did. Anyway, I'm running out of things to talk about. I've been here for 44 minutes. So anybody wanna? Oh, I got an appointment for what is today? Tuesday. Monday I'm gonna go get scoped. And you know what I mean by that. They're going to go in here, and they're going to do the other way. But what they're looking for is to see if I have ulcerative colitis. And maybe some of y'all don't know, but this colostomy has turned into a giant hernia. And it's about the size of a half of a basketball. It's just gotten big. And it may be from me cutting trees and lifting logs and stuff like that. But they got to fix the hernia. It has to be done. I was before I knew that this had to be done, I was happy living with this. I feel good, and I didn't want to screw this up and go back and be hooked up. And they asked me if I wanted to be. I said no. I do not want to run the risk of this happening again, because the problems that I had that caused this, I think, are still there. I have other issues that are going on I'm not going to talk about. It's just there's no way to delicately talk about it. And I've told the doctors, and I've told 2 doctors, and neither one of them seem to be concerned about it. So when they go in there with a scope, they'll see if I have a problem, and if I can be hooked back up. And if I can, I'll do it, because they got to go in there and do surgery anyway. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. If they got to do surgery on me anyway, it doesn't make sense not to get the plumbing reconnected. So there's that. I don't do a lot of prepping videos anymore. I mean, many reasons. Part of the reasons is my whole channel years ago was nothing but, not nothing, but I did a lot of prepping videos. And I think I've done everything that, I don't want to repeat videos. I've made wood gas stoves, and I've distilled water and made water distillers, and enjoyed doing it, had fun. And now I make knives and do a little work in my other shop sometimes. So we still prep. And I had this discussion on a Facebook page that I'm a member of, Christian Preppers on Facebook. And there was people talking about buying gold and silver. Well, I could never afford gold, so I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about silver. And I have a piece or 2 of silver, but I can see the logic of buying. If you have money, then don't have a need for it. To me, right now, it makes more sense to put it in something that will retain its value than it does to put it in the bank. Do you have any idea how many banks have gone out of business? They're not talking about it on mainstream media. And they're kind of keeping it a secret. And they're doing what they call backwards bailouts on these banks. The government is buying their bad debt so the banks don't go under. And to some of them, that's not enough. They're still going under. So we have 400 or 500 banks have gone out of business, and people are screwed. The FDIC will insure up to $250,000, but how long is it going to take you to get that? From the last bank failures, there's still people that are fighting the government for their money, the FDIC. So anyway, on this Christian Preppers website, there was a lot of discussion, and you have 2 distinct people who don't think you should buy gold or silver. They're not content just to let people who do think that they should put extra money in precious metals instead of leaving it in the bank. They are angry and vehemently oppose anybody who talks about buying gold and silver. And I got to notice, and I quit a lot of forums because there's a lot of drama and backbiting, and at my age, I'm just so sick of drama and stress and unpleasantness that I just leave those places. I don't go back. Well, now the Christian Prepper website, a forum, is turning into the same kind of, only people use scripture to insult you, and it's the same thing, just different words. And I'm just about ready to quit going there. But the latest thing is somebody talking about gold and silver. And I left a comment saying, I've never seen so much, people who buy precious metals, they never try to go get people to buy precious metals, because they don't care if other people buy it or not. But the people who don't buy precious metals constantly attack the people that think precious metals is a smart thing to have. And it's no different than the other forums I've been to. And it just blows my mind how they put a name like Christian Preppers on it and behave just the same way everybody else behaves. Anyway, so the sun is right in my eyes. 50 minutes. Okay, I'll go 10 more minutes of me running my mouth. And about ready to turn this, let me turn this off too. Or at least down. It was cold out here this morning. We had a frost on everything, and but it's supposed to warm up pretty good today. Where are my glasses? On my head. How many have done that before? Oh, I used to love Paul. Yep, went absolutely. He strayed. Your bank went last month. Damn it, it went away again. Your bank, lucky another bank. Yeah. True News used to be good. Yeah. Yeah, it's, we have watched a lot of these YouTube channels fall and stray. And it's sad because this is exactly what the Bible warns us about. Is people that get a little fame, get a little money, and then they go this way or that way, right or left, it doesn't matter, and they stray from the truth, from the Word. And you got to recognize that because you can get sucked in. And we've stopped watching a lot of people who have clearly gone down the wrong road. And sometimes it's heartbreaking to see people who you've watched for a long time and agreed with and learned from, and then suddenly their channel takes a whole nother turn that you didn't see coming, and it's far away from what you believe. And you got to ask yourself, do I want to stay here, and do I have enough good information that I'm willing to separate the bad information from it? Some of them, Canadian Prepper's one, I have unsubscribed from that guy so many times, but I resubscribe because there's nowhere else that I get this conglomeration of news from sources that we don't hear about some of the stuff here. If I was 17 again, what trade would I go into? Well, that is a good question. I joined the Army at 17. I mean, very young. The day I turned 17, I was in boot camp. Not quite. I was April, May, June. It was June 7th, 1977. And my birthday's in April, so. I certainly would not let my child join the military. This government is corrupt, and they use our young men as cannon fodder and nothing more. And I'm proud of the time I did, but looking back, that's what I was, just a hunk of meat in a uniform, and that it used me like they use the Ukrainian soldiers now, just cannon fodder. I don't know. It would definitely be something that I liked doing. Number one, you got to like what you do because you got to do it for 40, 50 years. And I love trucking, man. I miss it. I miss shifting gears. I don't miss, people have really turned evil out on the highway, more so than when Charlie and I were driving. People are angry, and it would be hard to be a truck driver now around people who are always angry, and no matter what you do, you're in their way, or you're too close to them if you're behind them, or you're in the lane they want to be in, so trucking would be a very hard thing to do. You really rarely use cash anymore? Yeah. Well, I use my debit card. So I don't know, man. Things are always going to have to be fixed. They're trying to move into electric everything, which makes no sense because the same people that are trying to force us into electric cars are shutting down coal-fired electric generating plants. How much sense does that make? And I don't know, man. I don't know what I would go into if I was 17 or what I would recommend someone going into. The world has changed, and I think technology is going to be the thing. I really think that technology is not going away. And you already know the government gets what they want. What would I fix first? Oh, God. First thing I would fix is I would dismantle the FBI and the CIA. That would be the very first thing. Yeah, really. Electronics and computers, that's, it seems like you couldn't go wrong learning that. Me, I couldn't enjoy that. It's, I gotta have my hands on something, moving, going places, lifting things, sawing, cutting, drilling. That's just the kind of person I am. Well, that is something that I would think building, we're always going to have houses. We're always going to have to fix air conditioners, HVAC and electrical. Those are very well paying jobs, and it doesn't take a long time to be an electrician. It doesn't take a long time to be a plumber. These guys that go to school and get a ridiculous degree and then come out $200,000 in debt and got to go work at a Starbucks or something, because they have a useless degree and something that's not in demand. I'll give you an example. We knew, well, he didn't actually go this far, but he did terrible in school. He quit going to school, and people would say, what do you want to be? I want to be a wildlife biologist or something like that. I mean, you got to have certain grades to get into college. It was just something so ridiculous that he could never do because he didn't apply himself in school at all. And oh God, it's some kind of, I forget, it's not really important. But nobody taught this kid, pick something that will be in demand, something that you like. And he liked video games, so why not work on computers, But the second question, what would I fix? I would dismantle the FBI and the CIA, dismantle it, and that would pass a law saying that you get 2 terms, congressman, senator, anybody in government office, you get 2 terms and that's it. You cannot run again. And there would be no lobbyists, no people that got out of Congress and then became a lobbyist, nothing like that. I don't think there's any saving the government. I really don't. Tree trimmer, yeah. Well, actually, I like cutting trees, and if I was a young man, I could have probably done that job and enjoyed it because I enjoyed cutting trees and working on the chainsaws. And if I was a young man, I'd have been a tree climber because I still had, I was a pretty strong young guy. And I don't know. Anyway, I can't think of anything else to say. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'm going to shut it off and go to sanding if I figure out how to turn this off. And I'll try to get a little better at this. Oh, and my beard, man, it's like 1.5 inches long now. This is just like 3-4 months of growing. And I really want it to get long enough where I can comb it. I'm going to have to learn how to operate a comb all over again because, years ago I lost my comb certification. So thanks for watching. I enjoyed hanging out. And next time I'll do this from my house and I'll get on my computer and I'll have the computers. Okay, Mike. Gail. Yeah. All right, y'all. Take care. We'll see you again.